Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Alin Fitri Amalia. Today I'm going to tell the story from Hans Christian Andersen, and the title is The Little Match Girl, as my personal assignment. And as the media, I'm using the character's puppet. And hopefully this media will help me to explain the story better. And now the story is begin. It was so terribly cold. Snow was falling, and it was almost dark. Evening came on, the last evening of the year. In the cold and gloom, a poor little girl, bareheaded and barefoot, was walking through the streets. Of course, when she had left her house, she had slippers on. But what could had they been? They were very big slippers, way too big for her, for they belonged to her mother. The little girl had lost them running across the road, when two carriages had rattled by terribly fast. One slipper she had not had been able to find again, and the boy had run off with the other, saying he could use it very well as a cradle some day when he had children of his own. And so the little girl walked on her naked feet, which were quite red and blue with the cold. In an old apron she carried several packages of matches, and she held a box of them in her hand. No one had bought any from her all day long, and no one had given her a cent. Shivering with cold and hunger, she crept along, a picture of misery. Poor little girl. The snowflakes fell on her long fair hair, which hung in pretty curls over her neck. In all the windows lights were shining, and there was a wonderful smell of roast goose, for it was New Year's Eve. Yes, she thought of that. In a corner formed by two houses, one of which projected farther out into the street than the other, she sat down and drew up her little feet under her. She was getting colder and colder, but did not dare to go home, for she had sold no match nor earned a single cent, and her father would surely beat her. Besides, it was cold at home, for they had nothing over them but a roof through which the wind whistled, even though the biggest cracks had been stuffed by straw and rags. Her hands were almost dead with cold. Oh, how much one little match might warm her! If she could only take one from the box and rub it against the wall and warm her hands. She drew one out. Watch how it sputtered and burned. It made a warm, bright flame, like a little candle, as she held her hands over it. But it gave a strange light. It really seemed to the little girl as if she were sitting before a great iron stove with shining brass knobs and brass cover. How wonderfully the fire burned! How comfortable it was! The youngster stretched out her feet to warm them too. Then the little flame went out. The stove vanished, and she had only the remains of the burned match in her hand. She struck another match against the wall. It burned brightly, and when the light fell upon the wall, it became transparent like a tin veil, and she could see through it into a room. On the table, a snow-white cloth was spread, and on it stood a shining dinner service. The roast goose steamed gloriously, stuffed with apples and prawns, and what still better, the goose jumped down from the dish and waddled along the floor with a knife and fork in its breast, right over to the girl. Then the match went out, and she could see only the thick, cold wall. She lighted another match. Then she was sitting under the most beautiful Christmas tree. It was much larger and much more beautiful than the one she had seen last Christmas through the glass door at the rich merchant's home. Thousands of candles burned on a green branch, and colored pictures like those in the print shop looked down at her. The little girl reached both her hands toward them. Then the match went out, but the Christmas light mounted higher. She saw them now as bright stars in the sky. One of them fell down, forming a long line of fire. Now somebody is dying, thought the little girl. For her old grandmother, the only person who had loved her and who was now dead, had told her that when a star fell down, a soul went up to God. She rubbed another match against the wall. It became bright again, and in the glow, the old grandmother stood clear and shining, kind and lovely. "Grandmother," cried the child, "oh, take me with you. I know you will despair when the match is burned out. You will vanish like the warm stuff, the wonderful frescoes, and the beautiful big Christmas tree." And she quickly struck the whole panels of match, for she wished to keep her grandmother with her. And the match burned with such a glow that it became brighter and daylight. Grandmother had never been so grand and beautiful. She took the little girl in her arms, and both of them flew in the brightness and joy above the earth. Very, very high, and up there was neither cold, nor hunger, nor fear. They were with God. But in the corner, leaning against the wall, sat the little girl with red cheeks and smiling mouth, frozen to death, on the last evening of the old year. The New Year's sun rose upon the little pathetic figure. The child sat there, stiff and cold, holding the match, of which one bottle was almost burned. She wanted to warm herself, the people said. No one imagined what beautiful things she had seen, and now happily she had gone with her old grandmother into the bright new year. So that's the end of the story. Thank you guys for watching my whole video, and I hope you guys always happy and healthy wherever you are. And last, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.